Alright, this is another Kung Fu tutorial for you. This tutorial is going to be speaking about how to build strong abs. So this is different than just having a six-pack abs or just having defined abs. When I'm talking about strong abs, I'm talking about for something that's more practical for the martial arts, just having a strong stomach. So if somebody hits you in the stomach with a kick or a punch, you're not going to give up the fight, and you're not going to be like easily hurt. So it'll be harder for somebody to knock you out by hitting you in the stomach. There's a lot of strength training involved in this area. So strong abs in accordance to that, and also through performance. So meaning like if you do as many sit-ups as you can in a minute, you want to be able to do as many as you possibly can, and also being able to do various different ab exercises with ease, no matter if it being the L hold or leg raises. Just strong abs. It's not about how your abs look, it's about the performance and what it could do. So it's a different type of an assessment. This is not bodybuilding, this is specifically for martial arts, having strength in that area. Okay. Basically, the main exercise that I'm going to go over today is just the basic sit-up. You'll find numerous, a lot of different ab exercises that you could do. There's so many different variations, and you'll find videos and all these different things that you could do. But right now, I'm going to stick to the basics, stick to something simple, the basic sit-up. Okay. So this is a great exercise to build that core strength right here. And I just recently got this training equipment yesterday, and I guess this is also an advertisement for this piece of equipment because I do like the equipment. It didn't cost too much money. I ordered it on Amazon, and I'll put the link below so you can check it out. It didn't cost that much money. It's built pretty well, and it serves its purpose. Some of these ab machines at the gym cost maybe up to $1,000, but it still fulfills what it needs to fulfill, does what it needs to be done. If you go to the gym, then you can find a machine similar to like this, where you're pretty much almost hanging upside down in order to do these ab exercises. Alright, so what I did is I bought this machine, I put it together, and I propped it up on this stepper to make it an even steeper decline, to make it even more difficult to do the sit-up. Now, originally, without the stepper, if you move this off, it inclines this much, okay? Or it declines this much. But once I put it up on top of here, it makes the decline even steeper, makes it more difficult, makes it more challenging. And my thing is, once your abs get pretty strong, it just saves time to be able to make the ab exercise as difficult as possible, so you don't have to do so many. So rather than doing like 50 sit-ups, to me it's much better to just do like 20 to make it more difficult. So rather than just doing sit-ups on the ground for 50 reps, you can find equipment like this and do it on the decline, and then now you have a hard time to even do 20, then that's the ideal, because then you're going to save time, and it's going to be a lot more effective for building muscle. It intensifies the exercise, so then the muscles work even harder. And this is something that, it's an exciting new piece of equipment that I acquired. This is one thing that I missed about what they have at the gym, is an equipment such as this. I just didn't spend the money or spend the time to look for one. But now that I finally have one, it's a great asset to the school, and definitely a great piece of training equipment. It's a safe equipment. As long as it's built the right way, then you don't need to worry about falling off the equipment and hurting yourself, because this exercise can be pretty dangerous if you have unstable equipment, or if you don't properly use it the right way. You could fall on top of your head, you could fall on your neck, and some serious injuries could occur. I've heard some people maybe even become paralyzed, or have to get some type of surgery because they fell on top of their head doing some of these types of exercises. So you got to make sure that it's a safe piece of equipment. Okay. So first, the advanced people will start off in the deepest decline and challenge themselves to get that sit-up. So what you want to do is, I want you to put your hands behind your head, so then now there's going to be more weight coming. The weight of your arms, you're going to have to sit up, so it's going to make it more difficult. So the harder it is by putting the hands back here. That makes it more difficult because now your weight of your arms is making it more difficult to do the sit-up. Now some people say, hey, you shouldn't do that because you might strain your neck. Well, that's true if you don't use your core to sit up. So if your core is not strong enough, and then you're struggling by pulling on your neck, then yeah, you're going to strain your neck. And that basically means that you're not ready to have your hands back here interlocked. So you want to interlock your fingers, but you would probably want to put it by your shoulders. This makes it less difficult, because now the weight of your arms is no longer behind your head. It's right here across your shoulders. So it's going to make it more easy to do the sit-up, and you're not going to cause a strain in your neck. But if you have enough strength, if you do it properly with good form and good technique, then your neck will not strain, because you're using your core to sit up, and you have enough strength in your core to fulfill to complete the repetition without having to pull on your neck. Okay? So what you want to do is challenge yourself by the hardest sit-up that you could do, the deepest decline, having the hands interlocked, fingers interlocked, having it behind your head. And you also want to kind of go in a full rep, but you don't want to rest on the down, and you don't want to rest on the top. You want to basically just keep the movement continuous and breathe. Proper breathing is very important. So every time you sit up, you want to breathe out. You go back down, you breathe in. You go up, you breathe out. So there has to be this breath that goes in coordination with your body movement. And once again, you don't want to be resting on the down or the up, and you also don't want to push off the bench with your back in order to propel you forward. In a way, that's kind of cheating and not utilizing your core, but you're just kind of maybe utilizing your hips to try to thrust you up. And once again, you're not utilizing the core at that moment. That's another way of cheating, and that's what could cause the pain in the neck, and that's also not an effective way of targeting the core. Alright, so I'm going to demonstrate a few reps at this right here, which at this moment, based on the equipment that I do have with the stepper and with this piece of exercise equipment, this is the most difficult sit-up that I could create within this facility at the moment. And through testing it out, it's difficult enough. If I want to make it even more difficult in the future, then I could add some weight, like hold a plate behind my head, maybe like a 5-pound plate, a 10-pound plate, and then start doing the sit-ups with the plates, but still having like good form and good technique. If my form and technique break down and it's not good anymore, then I can't use the weight anymore, and then I'll put my hands back here. If that becomes too difficult, then I have to put my hands here. If that's too difficult, then I might have to put my hands forward. So this is the most difficult here, and then here, and then there. Okay. So you want to start off with the most difficult one to see where you're at. Once the form starts breaking down, then start doing it the easier way. Okay. So we start over here. Make sure it's stable. Put my feet under. So when I have my hands here, So I also want to go down, not fast, but kind of relatively slow, so I'm working the negative. So there's two parts to the exercise, and usually with all exercises, there's the positive and the negative. So you want to lower slowly and come back up. Lower slowly, come back up. That's the proper form and technique, so then you're working on both the positive and the negative, and you're targeting that core. So the ideal situation is just to basically do as many reps as you can with good form until you tire out that muscle. It's not about just, okay, you know, I have to do 50 reps and then now the form is breaking down, and then you start using your hips and you start pushing off your back and you start pulling on your neck, and you're resting on the down, you're resting on the up, and you know, you're gonna end up injuring yourself eventually, and it's just not good technique. You're not gonna get you're not gonna get much done in a quick time. You're wasting a lot of time, because in order to do 50 reps, it's gonna take a long time. So you're wasting time, and you're not even targeting the muscle that's supposed to be worked. So it's not going to be as effective on building muscle, and then in addition, you will probably get injured as well. So those are just all negatives that you just don't want to do. If it's too hard, then you just have to make it easier. So at that point, then it's too hard up here, then I'll put my hands over here. Okay, if that's too hard, then I might put my hands forward. So demonstration, say the one getting behind your head is too difficult. Say this is too hard, then I put my hands here. Okay, say that's too difficult. I put my hands here. Okay? So you got those different variations with the hand movements. Okay? Remember to go down slow, come back up, and get your elbows to touch your knees, so you get that full range in there. Alright, so this is the hard, medium, easy. So once this gets too difficult, say you can't do that, then you just have to lower it down. Instead of putting it up on this thing, put it down here. Don't put it up, don't prop it up on anything. Just put it in the lower setting. So now, when you have it over here, then it won't be as difficult. Okay, same technique, but it's just on a lower setting. Okay, so if I demonstrate it here really quickly. Okay, so same concept, hard, medium, easy. And the nice thing about this is that you can adjust it to go further down to make it even easier. So say I turn this here, and say I adjust it, pull it, push it down. Okay, so now the decline is not as steep, and I can still perform the exercise in this easier setting, just like this. So hard, medium, easy. Okay, so what you want to do is make sure that you tighten your abs tighten your abs throughout the range. So make sure that you tighten your abs on the way up and you tighten it on the way down. A lot of the ab training is all about tightening the abs. So, and that comes with like any exercise. So even if I'm doing bicep curls, I want to tighten that core while I'm doing the curls. So I'm working on that core. So when you're doing these ab exercises, it's going to be a lot more effective when you tighten throughout the whole time that you're doing the exercise. You don't want to rest the abs at any moment while you're doing the exercise, because then it's making it easier. So remember, anything that makes the exercise easier basically means that it's not as effective. So it just doesn't, it's not going to be effective training. For example, if I just do like 100 sit-ups on the floor and I'm resting my abs on the negative, okay? Like I think I did a lot because I did 100, and I said, oh, you know, I could brag to say that I did 100 sit-ups and I did abs for 15 minutes, but it's not effective because you're not truly tiring the muscles out properly and efficiently. Once again, what I talked about in the other video is called HIIT training, H-I-T-T, so high intensity training. So basically, the more effective way to exercise is to do it like a very difficult exercise with less reps. So meaning it'd be much better off for me to do like 20 sit-ups on this decline with good form than it is for me to do like 200 sit-ups on the ground. That's not even good form. You know, this would take less time and it's going to be more effective. Alright, so a lot of us may not have access to the gym, so you might not be able to use something like this. So we're going to have to improvise. So we have to find out a way, okay, how do we do sit-ups if we don't have equipment? So I'm going to show you what you could do next. And this is like basic things, just dumbbells. What I talked about in the other video. Okay, so what I talked about in the other video is how important it is to have dumbbells where you could, you know, do a lot of different exercises with dumbbells. So if you have access to dumbbells, you could just use dumbbells and just put your feet underneath the dumbbells to give you some stability. Once again, the same concept, hard, medium, easy. So you might, with good form, good technique, you might do 10 hard, and then you can't do any more, then you can do 10 medium, and then 10 easy. So with good form technique on the ground, just like this, once that gets too easy, put your hands here. That gets too, or not too easy, once it gets too hard. Once that gets too hard, you put your hands here. Okay? So no rest on the down, no rest on the up. So I don't want to be staying up here and just resting. I also don't just want to lay back here and rest. I want constant tension here. So as long as my upper back is off the ground, this is working right here. And you want to maintain that the whole time. So you don't want to just go all the way down and rest. And then come up and rest. And you don't want to be shooting your arms forward like this. This is all not the right technique, and you're utilizing momentum. You're not truly working the core at that moment. You know, you're getting other muscles involved, such as maybe your hip flexors, or you know, you're using momentum, and it's not effective training for what you're supposed to target. So this is the wrong technique right here. Like right there, I'm just kind of relaxing my muscles. You know, I'm just kind of relaxing here. I'm not really tightening. I'm only tightening when I have to. And you know, you might be doing it, you know, because you want to see how many sit-ups you can do in a minute. So then there's a lot of ways to cheat, and you're not really truly working the muscle the most effectively. You know, so if you don't have access to dumbbells, then you could try doing it without any weights holding down your feet. This is going to be more difficult, but this is something where you absolutely don't need any equipment for at all. And all you do is just here, put your feet here, try not to let your feet leave the ground. Have your hands here. That's hard, this is medium. This is easy. Okay? So, having no equipment is not an excuse. The equipment allows you a greater challenge, especially with this bench. The dumbbells actually make the exercise easier because you have something to hold down your feet. If you have a training partner, you could have them hold on to your feet, or you could just kind of like wrap your legs around some type of post and use that as stability, or just do it without anything holding down your feet. Is going to be more difficult. Okay, so there really isn't any excuse to not be able to work the abs. This is the basic sit-up that we're talking about. There's a lot of different variations, but I'm not going to go over it in this video because there's just so much all at once. You know, but this is the basic. This is the foundation, is the sit-up. And once again, the variations that we talked about in the sit-up is just the basic hand positioning. This adds more weight, you know, makes it the most difficult. This is medium, and then this is easy. Okay, once you get more advanced, you can start putting plates behind your head and start exercising with the plates. Like say, or it could be a dumbbell. So say I got this 10-pound dumbbell right here, and then I could essentially put it behind my head like this, and then perform the sit-up. Once that gets too hard, I can put it in this in the front of my chest. And then that gets too hard, I can put it out. So that's a creative way to make the exercise more difficult, so you don't have to do so many when you don't have access to equipment like this. But the dumbbell in itself is a piece of equipment, so some people don't even have dumbbells. So if you don't have dumbbells, then you just have to do it on the ground like the way that I showed you. Remember, emphasize quality over quantity. You're going to save time because you don't have to do as many reps. It's going to be more effective for building muscle and true strength. And it's just also going to help prevent injury by having good technique. Alright? You know, and it's just overall a better demonstration of true strength when somebody is able to demonstrate exercises with perfect form and technique. You know, and it just gets more respect in the fitness community when you could do things the right way. You know, so focus on good form and good technique. I think a lot of us get so caught up in the numbers that we don't focus on good technique, and then all of a sudden, you know, you end up wasting a lot of time and you end up potentially getting injured And at the end of the day, your muscles aren't even really building to the true potential because you're not challenging them the proper way. So this is the basic sit-up that we're talking about. And this is the foundation. Every other ab exercise is just going to go off of this foundation. So no matter if you do leg raises or you do an L hold like this, or if you do knee raises, flutter kicks, I mean, everything goes off of the sit-up. So if you can learn to perfect the sit-up and get really strong abs or get really strong stomach from the sit-up, then you're going to have a greater chance of being successful in all the other ab exercises that you could possibly do as well. Okay? A lot of fitness training is based on the core. So the core gets involved in almost every single exercise that we do. So having a strong core is extremely important, not just in martial arts, but just almost in all athletics and just in your general health as well. So work on the sit-up is a very important exercise, and just put the effort to really get good at it. You know, and my recommendation, at least do sit-ups every other day. And the sit-up is something that you could do every single day. But at the very least, do it every other day. Okay, that's my recommendation. To do, I don't know how many sets that you want to do, but to work on it. You could do 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets, how many sets you want. But I recommend to work on the sit-up every single day. Alright? And if not every single day, then every other day. Alright, so once again, I want to thank everybody for all your support out there. We are truly thankful for all of you. Take care.